What's up, y'all? It's your girl Jay Lee. You're tuned into another episode of Faith Music Fitness, and today I am going to talk or speak on the subject of introspection. Now, this is something that's actually been on my heart to speak about for some time, and it's something that I've noticed has actually made a huge impact on my life and my walk spiritually, and just in other areas of my life. And I'm hoping to share a couple pieces of knowledge and wisdom so that way it can have a positive impact on your life. So, without further ado, let me go ahead and get into it. So, what is introspection? Introspection, as I looked up on Google, always trusty Google, but introspection is an adjective, and the definition of it is the examination or observation of one's own mental and emotional processes. So what that means is taking a moment to examine your thought life, examine how you think, and ultimately what you think is how you base what you base your life upon. So the thoughts that you have actually directly correlate with the things that you do. So if you believe that you can lose 20 pounds, you're going to allow your belief system in your mind to correlate with your actions, and your actions are ultimately going to lead to your results. And so people don't think that your thought life and your actual life are the same thing, and actually it is. What you're living in is just a manifestation of the thoughts that you think. So what does that mean? And other synonyms for introspection are soul searching or self-analysis. So what that means is you're really focusing on who am I? How do I think? Why do I think this way? What experiences shaped my perspective? What can I do to shift my perspective? Is my way of looking at things the right way? Is it the wrong way? Is it the culture that I'm in that has taught me to think this way? What is it that is causing me to think the way that I do, and ultimately to respond the way that I am responding? And so the reason why I'm even talking about this is because there are so many people who are not experiencing the fullness that they can experience in life. And it's simply because of the way that they think. And the way that they think is, like I said, a direct translation into the things that they do. So why do you need to be introspective? The first thing is to get your mind off of what other people are thinking, and thinking about them is what's keeping you from your own success. Think about that. You go to work and you're concerned what people think about what you wear, about the fragrances that you use. You're concerned about what other people think about your car and your house, your way of living, your life. You're concerned with what other people think of you. Or moreover, you might be concerned about someone else. Oh, look at her hair. What does she think about herself for her to wear her hair like that? She must think that she's better than because she wears her natural hair instead of wearing a weave. Or, he thinks he's better than because he has a Charger instead of a Honda. You allow your thoughts to be so consumed with other people that you don't even take the time to zone in and say, what do I need to improve about myself? First of all, ask yourself the question, why am I so concerned and consumed with what other people are doing? Why? Am I jealous of somebody? Am I seeing him in that Charger? Am I seeing her with her natural hair? And those things make me feel uncomfortable with where I'm at. Is that why you're so focused on them? Because if it is, then guess what? If you put half as much energy into your own thought life as you do thinking about them, you might be where you want to be. That's exactly my point. And that leads me to my second point, is that if you focus your attention on yourself, you're going to get where you want to go, for one. And for two, you'll probably get there faster than thinking about somebody else. Let me give you an example. Something that in my own life I've had to be more introspective about is my finances. I'm not saying I'm a financial guru by any means, but I had to at some point realize the reason why I'm not even half of where I'd like to be financially is because of me. I have a certain perception about finances that maybe when I get my paycheck, I don't need to put something in savings. Maybe over the years, I've had the mindset that I can just spend it however, on whatever, and I'll be fine. That I had to wake up, realize my way of thinking is affecting my lifestyle, is affecting my financial well-being. So by me realizing, you know what, this isn't working, and I can look at the girl who is debt-free all day long and be jealous of her. I can look at the person who has on the latest Nike shoes and be mad at them. Or I can look at me and say, you know what, if you want the Nike shoes, if you want this, that, or the other, what are you doing to keep or prevent yourself from having that? That's what introspection is. And to me, I believe that introspection is such an essential, if not the most essential part of being successful as an individual. I don't care if that's spiritually. You can look all day long and say, well, the pastor was, quoting scripture incorrectly. And I'm not saying that's not a problem, but I'm saying, are you more focused on the pastor not doing what they're supposed to do and allowing that to justify why you don't do what you're supposed to do? Or, in your health, you could be looking at other people and saying, well, they eat whatever they want, so I don't really feel like I don't really need to, tighten up. I don't need to make different or better decisions. Other people around me are making hit and miss decisions. If you base your life on the mediocrity of other people, you're not going to excel. You're not going to experience the greatness that you envision, the greatness that you want. The very first step of being successful is really in anything, is first acknowledging I have to grow. You might have had a circumstance that really just makes things not ideal for you. You may have grown up with one parent involved. You could have not have been afforded the same opportunities. I'm a Black female. If I can speak from any perspective in life, that is one I can speak from. I may have grown up with two parents, and I'm thankful for that. I don't take that for granted. But one thing I know is for sure, when I go to a corporate environment, you know what they see? They see a Black woman. And whatever preconceived notions in their mindset from their previous experiences or even from the stereotypes that they've seen and heard of, I have to combat that. But I'm not going to allow someone's preconceived notion of a Black woman keep me from being successful as one. I talk a certain way. I carry myself a certain way. And I'm trying to do my best to position myself for success. It starts and ends with me. People might have their comments and perceptions along the way, but it starts with you and it ends with you. So that's why it's so important to be introspective. You're not going to be successful in anything as long as you continue to blame other people. For as long as you blame other people, you're going to stay where you are. If it's always someone else's fault, and you can never, I'm not saying nothing is ever anyone else's fault. I'm not saying that. Because you know what? Sometimes things genuinely are other people's fault. Sometimes you just have a boss that didn't appreciate you and chose not to promote you. Sometimes you were, dealt some difficult cards. I'm not going to say that there are never any circumstances where you might be dealing with a lack of favor. I'll be honest about that. But even with all of the odds against you, that's what makes the come up story even better. Because when people see that someone has gone through so much opposition and they still chose to be successful, they always ask the questions of, well, what did you do? What was it, your routine that was different? But ultimately, every successful person made a decision at the end of the day to make better decisions. That's what it is. Making a decision to make better decisions. But what that does, in order for you to make better decisions, you have to be cognizant of the bad ones you've been making. That's where it starts. So you say to yourself, you know what? For example, this channel is called Faith Music Fitness. And though I post a lot about my faith because everything is from that perspective, I had a health journey. And I'll talk about that in a later video. But in brief and in short, when I first started my health journey, it started with me being displeased with where I was. I could have sat all day long and said, well, you know what? I don't really have enough money to go and buy healthier food, and I really don't have that much time. I mean, I did have time, I'm not gonna lie. But, I could have lied to myself and said, I don't really have that much time to go and start working out and watching YouTube videos and all of those things. I could have made all the excuses in the world, but what I chose to do was say, you know what? I'm not where I want to be. I see point A and I'd like to be at point B. I'm not fond of where I'm at. I'm 40 plus pounds overweight at age 18, 19. I don't like the way that I feel. I don't like the way that I look. I'd rather be in a different position physically and health-wise. I don't like where I'm at. So because I don't like where I'm at, I'm visualizing where it is that I'd like to go. But I also have to take the time to evaluate, okay, what do I have to do to get from here to there? What is going on right here that is making there so much more difficult? Maybe it's my eating, maybe it's my thought process about food, maybe it's my thought process about exercise and incorporating healthier lifestyle habits. Maybe something in me needs to change. And so as I started evaluating my routine, as I started evaluating my way of eating, my thought process started changing. And you know what I started telling myself? I didn't tell myself, oh, I'm incapable of doing this. 40 pounds is just too much for me to lose. There's no way. I don't have a personal trainer. I don't have money for a personal trainer. I work a minimum wage job. I work at a fast food joint. So how can I think I'm going to lose weight working at a fast food joint? It's not possible. I could have allowed all of those things to keep me from that, but it didn't. I didn't have a workout buddy. I didn't have a personal trainer. I didn't have experience or knowledge in health and fitness. All I had was a desire to be in a different place and a willingness to look within myself, introspection, and say, you know what? I gotta make some different decisions. And because of that, I started to actually believe it's possible for me to lose this weight. It's possible for me to manifest the body type that I can visualize in my mind. It's possible. So because of that, I started making decisions that aligned with my thinking. So because I thought, you know what, I can probably lose a couple pounds or a pound this week. So because I believe that, I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna go run. Because I believe that if I get up and I go run or exercise, that's going to contribute to the belief that I'm gonna lose weight. And I already believe that I can do it. And I'll tell you this, probably 3, 4, maybe maximum 5 months later, I was at my goal. Now, my goals have adjusted and transformed over time, and I'm not going to say that I've remained perfect. Well, I wasn't perfect then, but, I'm not going to say that it hasn't still been a journey. But what I learned in that time was it's possible for me to reach a goal without much at all, except for as long as your mindset is in the right place, it's possible. So you might ask yourself, how? Like, I want to be successful. I want to be better in my finances. I want to be a better spouse. I want to be a better believer. I don't want to just be the believer that kind of sometimes sort of reads their word. I want to read the word and actually live a lifestyle of power. How do I do that? And I don't want to blame other people for where I'm not at. I want to take accountability and responsibility for that. So how do I do that? Where do I start? Well, you take the time to evaluate how you think. Now, an easy way to do this, because sometimes it's hard to think about how you think. That sounds weird. Think about how you think. If you take the time to ask someone that you have to be wise about who you ask, because some people around you think the same way you do. So the moment that you tell them, I want to think differently, they're going to be like, what's going on? Why are you wanting to change up all of a sudden? You're different now. Yeah, I am. If God wanted us to stay the same, This is just random thought just popped in my head. If God wanted us to stay the same throughout our lives, he wouldn't have us transition as we grow. Growth is a natural process. The seed doesn't look like the final harvest. There's a transition. If you look at a butterfly, what a butterfly looks like doesn't look the same as it did when it was a caterpillar. And a baby doesn't look the same thing as an adult. So if God wanted us to stay stagnant, he would have made provision for that. But he shows all throughout nature, all throughout what we can see through our natural eye, that change is a part of life. So if change is not happening, if growth and transformation is not happening in your life, and stagnation is where you're at, stagnation is actually the first sign of deterioration or death. And that's spiritually, that's physically, that's financially, that's emotionally and mentally. That's in every aspect of your life. So if you are staying in the same spot, you're actually closer to dying in that area than you are living. So don't allow people around you to convince you you should stay where you are. You should never stay where you are. I'm not telling you to change who you are, but I'm telling you should never stay stagnant. Anyways, that was a digression. But ask someone around you who you trust. Ask someone who has a level-headed perception of you. Some people think too negatively of you to give you a fair shot. Some people think too positively of you to tell you the truth. You need to have someone who's level-headed about you. If you have a parent in your life, that might be the perfect source. I know for me, one of the perfect people that I always go to ask and glean information about where I'm at is my dad. Both of my parents are amazing, but I love going to my dad for advice, because one thing I know about myself is that he's going to tell me the truth. He loves me too much to not tell me the truth. But at the same time, he's just as much concerned with my well-being, that he's not going to only tell me what sounds good, but he's also not going to say it in a way that's with the intention to be hurtful. I might get offended and walk away upset or, bothered by what was said, just simply because, all of us taking criticism sometimes can be difficult. But I don't come to him with the expectation for him to just tell me something and me to just, whatever. I'm not listening to that. I always go with the mindset that whatever you tell me, it's probably some truth to it. You probably know me in ways that I don't know myself. So, but for someone, it could be a friend, it could be a mentor, it could be even a coworker. Sometimes they see how you interact with other people or in just various situations. So go to someone who you trust, someone who you believe has a level-headed perception of who you are, who's seen your good and your bad and can accept both. And when you speak to them, ask them, how do I talk? Am I a positive person most of the time, with a few exceptions of, today is an extremely difficult day, or am I a negative person? Ask them, what do I act like? What do I talk like? What areas am I unwilling to take responsibility for my decisions? Because they might help you see the way that you think. They might help you see, you really are negative about other people, or maybe you down talk yourself a lot, and I see the potential in you, but you speak about yourself this way. They might show you things that you don't see within yourself. And ultimately, if you don't have other people to show you, I always encourage, go to God in prayer and ask him, Lord, show me the things that I can't see. And maybe sometimes that you've hidden from other people, they don't know these things about me. But I pray that you would reveal it so that I might have an insight or an understanding of the things that you want me to tweak. So once you evaluate the way that you think, then now the next step is now you can start to expect to see results in the areas that you've made those changes. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be some instantaneous and automatic thing. It's a transforming of your mind. And when you transform your mindset, that means that you have to renew it with new thoughts. But first, there has to be the breaking down of the old. there are usually strongholds over your mindset. So you have to change the way that you think about things. What does that mean? For example, if you have the mindset that, I don't know, finances, that you can just never save money, spend however you want, don't need to invest. If you have that perception about money, then what it's going to take is being around the exact opposite. You're going to have to glean from people who see the importance in saving, see the importance of investing, see the importance of telling every cent of their finances where it's allotted to go. You have to experience the exact opposite and feed yourself with those things. Your diet is not simply what you eat. Your diet is what you consume, from the content that you listen to or watch to the people that you surround yourself around. So begin to surround yourself around people that embody the mindsets that you would like to have, even if you're not there yet. But be willing to take the time to evaluate the way that you think, the things that you allow to penetrate your mindset, and ultimately to make the revisions in your life. Stop focusing on so many other people and other things. If you have to have your head buried in books and buried in evaluating yourself, why do I get jealous when I see this person? Why do I shy away from being my best me? Why am I lazy? You know, am I lazy or am I tired? If I'm tired, why am I so tired? Is something draining me? Start asking yourself the questions that are going to ultimately lead you to the breakthroughs that you desire in your life. So I hope that this video has been a blessing to someone. I know it's not spiritually or biblically rooted, but I'm hoping that believers and unbelievers can be blessed by this information and really begin to take a look at your life. And lastly, I want to say that this is not something that I'm just spouting out or saying. Like I said, I don't normally speak or preach on, I'm not a preacher, but speak on the things that I don't feel led to. And this was an area where I've really been noticing there's a lot of people who don't take the time to really look at themselves. And I'm still working on this too in my life. There are certain areas where I've gotten better at noticing, oh, I have this tendency or whatnot, but I still have a lot of growth. And that's the first step, is just acknowledging, you know what, I can get better. And that's okay. Can't we all in some areas? So I hope that this was an encouragement to each of you. And until the next time, peace.